Oh, I speedrun being disappointed 24 hours a day.
We're entering our flop era.
Shit's bleak out here. All right.
18 plus, who wants to get milked?
It's kind of quality we have here at Debate This.
I need the edge. I need what the raw, unfiltered internet can bring you.
This is probably only going to be the third or fourth dumbest thing I've said today.
That's for nobody.
Just out there raw dogging the internet.
Way more hog than I expected.
It's about as much hog as I anticipated.
This is going to be one of those episodes, isn't it?
Here comes the cow, here comes the cow.
All right, let's get this over with so we can play Magic. Hello and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this show, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comic books, video games, and how every time I tell myself I'm finally going to improve my life and finally uninstall Magic Arena, and then he comes back and he tells me, baby, I can change. And I always take him back. And then I find myself days later, after he goes on a 3-day bender with his work associate, Whatnot, I find myself yet again posting bail for the two of them.
Hey, that's
Andrew.
rough, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Andrew, are we dating the same guy?
We might be dating the same guy. Does he have a shitty work friend called Whatnot?
Oh, I haven't been introduced to any shitty work friends called Whatnot, but
A little menage a trois knot. That didn't,
nope.
You know what I was
that's
going
nothing.
for.
I don't think that was it.
So not.
No, I didn't like that. Real quick, we have an in real life friend that said they started playing Magic the Magic Arena to get practical experience. And Andrew goes, no.
It was a guttural reaction. It was a demon left my body.
It is not practical experience at all.
It's practical experience if you want to practice being disappointed.
Yeah.
Oh, I speedrun being disappointed 24 hours a day.
Yeah, here's a good segue. The year is 2025.
Nailed it.
A religious theocracy nears closer and closer to their complete and total takeover of the American government, while the public's resources are clipped by mass layoffs and firings and a third once-in-a-lifetime recession within 30 years. Millions of bewildered citizens sit and ask themselves, what can we do about it? More horny video games should do it.
I don't like any single thing that you said in that paragraph. Not a single one of them.
It certainly can't hurt.
That's a good point. Can't hurt.
It can't make things worse.
And so with that amazing lead-in, I would like to formally celebrate the latest milestone of DT history on this very day's sex number plus 100.
That's my favorite CBS reality show.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I would watch it.
100.
I'd watch it.
Of course you would, Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's free on 3V.
It's free on Bobo with ads.
It's Booby on Frubu. Joining me today are my fellow co-hosts, Todd, Mark Davis's Pro Ass Challenge, Thomas.
That was tough to get through on multiple levels.
That's good. Matt, Dom Guy Cole,
Hell yeah.
and Kyle, Pokemon Leather and Lace Harper.
Yeah, it's the thing we did.
It's the thing we did.
It is the
I was
thing we
trying to
did.
remember, Todd, when you did Mark Davis's Pro Ass Challenge, was Pro Ass Challenge ever considered? Because I feel
Honestly,
like I thought it was, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah. I can't remember because honestly, once I got into the bit of let's do a pro bass fishing game as a relationship sim, all that I got
You just
to at the
blacked
end,
out after that.
until I got to the point that you could awaken the spirit of the lake and date the spirit of the lake.
Yeah.
A name that you could only pronounce with extra vowels and in tongues that you don't understand or fathom.
The demons took over. Well, boys, it's time yet again to do the thing that we so rarely do on this show, which is make a video game that wasn't originally intended to be horny, very much that. And so pitch me a brand new property that you're going to turn into a dating sim so erotic it would make Newgrounds blush. Todd, let's start with you.
I'm
The hesitation on Todd's face.
I love this. This is the stupidest. Okay, I'm just gonna go with it. Okay, Andrew, honest question to start the show here today. What are the top 3 sexiest professions you can think of in dating sims?
Street magician.
What?
Okay, well, that is only one answer, and it's wrong. So the right answers are obviously mathematician, astronaut, and doctor, as we all agree and learn from, because 40% of Stardew runs end with you dating Harvey. So
I feel like I need to see the math on that, but sure.
That's just for discounts at the doctor's office.
the medical center. Well, in life, dating a doctor isn't that about the discount to get into the better healthcare system?
Yeah, it's you date somebody who works at CVS Health. Yeah, we know.
Absolutely. So, mathematician, astronaut, and obviously doctor. Andrew, what if I told you there's a game that lets you play as those first two sexiest professions at once?
Already hard.
Enter Math Blaster, the dating sim. We're
Whoa.
going to do Math Blaster, the dating sim. It's been over 2 decades. It's been over 2 decades since we all collectively math blasted our way across the galaxy through simple mathematic equations where we fought the yellow trash alien, we fought Dr. Minus, and now it is time to blast boldly where no blaster has blasted before.
Yeah, I tried to do that once, and now No,
You're on
I'm
a
not going to
list.
finish that joke. I was going to finish that joke, and I decided I didn't want to.
It's too early. It's too early.
Finish Matt's joke. Get us in the comments. Finish Matt's joke for him.
Yeah, we are going to do Math Blaster, the dating sim. For those who are not familiar with Math Blaster, it came out in the early 90s. There's an iteration from the late 70s or the late 80s, but it came out in the early 90s. It was a pixelated, side-scrolling edutainment game that was probably on your elementary school computer. Personally, I loved Math Blaster, and I hate what thought crimes I have done with it today.
Math Blaster was probably the best overlap of actually educational and a fun game.
Yeah.
Math Blaster ruled. Math Blaster was so
Yeah,
fun.
Math Blaster was really good.
Yeah, only rivaled by, so there's a spectrum here, right? Like Math Blaster lands perfectly in the spectrum. On the other end, you've got Oregon Trail, which might have been edutainment, barely.
Yeah.
And on the opposite side of that, you've got Mario Teaches Type, which was just frantic typing with a Mario skin over it. Whereas Math Blaster was actually a game, point, click, interactions, shooting, targeting, and learning.
Nice.
Did you guys ever play, I think it's called Typing Dead, the zombie
Typing of the
typing
Dead?
game? Typing of
Oh
the
yeah,
Dead.
dude. That
Yeah.
game rules. When they walk around with keyboards on their necks.
Yeah, I would put that up there with Math Blaster as far as edutainment and fun games.
Yeah.
I don't really like that you said we're going to blast where nobody's ever math blasted before. I don't feel good about
I didn't
that.
say math blasted before. I just said blasted before, Matt.
I think you said math blasted, actually. We'll check the tape, but I'm pretty
Baby,
sure
where do you want
said
me to
it.
math blast?
No,
Matt, what do you think we're doing here?
yeah, you're gonna have to get in line, Matt.
Yeah. Stop clutching your pearls. It is too early for us to be sensitive to what we're doing here today. Yeah, Math Blaster, the dating sim. It would go
love it.
great on Newgrounds.
I love it. All right, Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, Andrew, I thought a lot about this today. And what I decided is that I wanted to create a dating sim that moved beyond simulation. In fact, could perhaps cultivate real world love and real world dating outside of just simulated dating, but provide, of course, dating simulation as well. And I looked for a game that already had a long proven history of romance behind it. And what I landed on is Words with Friends. So that's what I'm doing here today in a new game that I'm calling Words with Friends with Benefits. And
Incredible.
That's good.
thank you. I'm pretty stoked on it. I think that we are going to create the most secretly sexually deviant place on the iOS App Store. And I know that that's a high
It's a
bar.
high bar.
And I think we're
Yeah.
going to cross it. And I think Book Talk is going to be in absolute shambles over Words with Friends with Benefits, where we will not only simulate dating, but offer the potential chance for real world dating as well. One more time, the best part of my answer, Words with Friends with Benefits. Great title.
I like that a lot.
I do really like, Matt, that you straight up at the top recognized and understood that Words with Friends has definitely been where like a non-zero amount of hookups have began. Like for sure. Because my immediate thought was like, people are already like texting peach emojis in words with friends for sure.
At least in that like early iPhone era where it was still novel to have such a sophisticated 2-player game on your phone, people absolutely hooked up playing words with friends.
Believe me, I will be citing sources. I have sources. They will be cited.
Oh no.
Listeners at home, if you're ever curious, if you ever want to know if someone has been married for a long time, if you hear them say a sentence somewhat like people be texting peach emojis to each other, that's a great sign that they've been married for a while and haven't dated in a very long time.
That's super fair. I don't want to get ahead of the bit, but I do feel like the cover image for the social media post is just every synonym for the word penis connected in a words from words with friends tile.
Yeah. Can't wait to drop dong on a triple word score.
Matt,
Listeners at home, if you ever are wondering, someone's been in a long-term relationship for quite some time, and they drop a phrase like "can't wait to drop dong," chances are they're probably been in a long-term relationship for quite some time.
Matt, phallus is going to get you way more value out of that triple word score.
Well, and I'm going to do you one better. Phallus, but the S makes dong dongs. That's just
Good triple word score, baby.
Guys, this fucking sucks. Can you just tell we're all squarely in our 30s? Is it that clear?
Yeah, it's pretty clear. Kyle,
Yeah, Andrew.
drop some dong.
You're gonna say something way sexier than what we've said, I'm sure.
I am. So I, like Todd, am also taking this. I hate this. Taking this back to your elementary school computer lab.
Kyle, that exists in perpetuity. The internet's forever, Kyle.
I snorted so much water when you said
You have to say joke, that was a joke in record.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft. Yeah, it's all fine in Minecraft. That's what they call it, Finecraft.
Yeah, we are turning another edutainment game ? Into a dating sim today, and that game is Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing. Do I need to explain what Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing
You might,
is?
Kyle.
it's like the typing of the dead without zombies, right?
Andrew.
Yes, that's how they describe it on the box, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing is a program that was developed and released in 1987 to teach people typing back when that was a skill you could put on a resume, and doing so would get you a job.
Oh, Kyle. What did you even say that for? That was a pretty uncool thing of you to say,
What
Kyle.
a terrible day to have ears.
Everyone's resume that says Microsoft Word would like a word.
This is going to be different from the original game in that there will be a game element to it, and it will be different than most other dating sims, especially most dating sims we've talked about on this show, in that there's only going to be one focus for your affections, and that is the titular Mavis Beacon.
Titular. Nice.
Nice.
It is a real non-sexual word, Matt.
Oh, man.
You will be wooing your typing teacher in Mavis Beacon Teaches Love.
That's good.
Sure.
I like that.
Really good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Incredible.
Well, let's unfortunately dive in. So the building blocks.
The only way out is through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's in the way is the way.
Yeah. The building blocks to a good, memorable dating sim are obviously likable and relatable characters that players will actively want to pursue. So, talk to me about some of the key relationships your players will build and develop throughout your game. We'll start with Todd.
Yeah, so if you've played Math Blaster, especially like the very first one, you know the main three. So we'll kind of get them pretty quick. So in this game, you will be playing as Max Blaster, aka the Blasternaut, aka Blaster Prime, which are all real canonical names for this man.
Those are three
porn names.
Those are three porn pseudonyms that I have ever heard them.
Yeah.
I'm so aware, and it is all true. That is canon to Math Blaster, the game, TM. So the cast of romanceable characters is pretty extensive, but I'm going to hit you with like half a dozen or so. So we had said at the top of the line, you got Spot. Spot is your galactic robot buddy who is, in effect, the impetus of the entire first episode of Max Blaster's first outing, titled Math Blaster in Search of Spot. He's officially a robot that is built for companionship. And listen, you perverts, if the last couple years has taught us anything about movies about romanceable companion robots, then we can and should explore that relationship. That just makes sense.
Can you cite your source?
It's not the only thing we can and should explore, Todd.
Yeah.
What in the media has given you that impression, Todd?
Good question.
A movie literally just came out called Companion. Wasn't there one called Her? I, Robot. There was sexual tension there. And just like anything else.
Between
panicked on a
Will
third one.
Smith and the Alan Tudyk bot?
I said what I said. You're going to tell me, okay, Kyle Harper, you're going to tell me in the world of iRobot, no one fucked a robot?
He's got a good point.
He has a point. Remains to be seen if it's good.
Yeah, it is a point. So we got Spot. Easy, good. The obvious answer here for anyone who's played any of the first episode or two of Math Blaster is going to be the sultry Galactic Commander. She is a strong woman. She's the leader of the Galactic Command, and she is your direct supervisor. Check.
Yeah.
Yep. One that you wouldn't expect, the yellow trash alien. Yeah, so he is the antagonist of the first episode, Math Blaster in Search of Spot. He's messy, he's loud, he's rude, but he does have a sweet spaceship, and maybe we can fix him.
Yeah.
He's your sloppy bear character.
Yeah, it'll be different this time, I think. Let's talk about Dr. Minus. Dr. Minus is the antagonist of the mysterious robot villain in the second Math Blaster game, Math Blaster: Secret of the Lost City. We don't know much about him because there's truly no plot set up for this game, except that he has a terminal degree, hence his doctorate, and much like us, he appreciates mathematical equations. So we've got that last part in common, some common interests. He also has a sweet spaceship, and it seems like we may have a type. So we just have to run with that. I want to throw three more your way that you may not know if you didn't play past Math Blaster 1 and 2. Let's start with Lydia Novella. She's a ghost that roams the halls of this educational mansion that you get trapped in one of the games. And just to skip ahead here, we've referenced the curvy ghost from Paper Mario a few dozen times in this podcast, so I don't think I need to say much more.
You've referenced the curvy ghost from Paper Mario
royal we, all of us together in unison.
Have we evolved from calling it the booby ghost? Because that's how she was introduced on this show.
Okay. Fair is fair. The booby ghost is a cloud monster. The curvy ghost is an actual ghost, and I think we need to get that straight for the people that listen to this show.
Great. Thanks for clearing that up. My apologies,
You're welcome,
everyone.
public.
Yeah, the point I want to say here is that we don't need to say anything more about Sexy Ghost. If it's good enough for Patrick Swayze, it's good enough for Max Blaster, we move on. Let me talk about Scales. Gonna talk about a man named Scales. We're gonna dramatic pause as I get a picture of Scales.
Why does this just feel like Mass Effect?
I think we're just doing Mass Effect.
Math
Effect.
That's Lydia Novella. You don't need that. Where's Scales at? Come here, my little guy, my little weirdo, my little
Those
freak
are lines
show.
taken straight from the game.
There's Scales. There he is.
Oh, that's
Scales.
Todd.
Scales is in the chat.
That's a reverse merman.
Yeah, he's.
I don't know why I'm surprised at this point that Todd found another reason to put a fishman in his horny game. But here it is, another fishman in Todd's horny game.
Quick reminder, if you want to see our notes,
energy here.
If you want to be part of what we're doing right now and read our notes, you can subscribe at the $10 tier, patreon.com/debatethiscast.
But we also completely understand if you don't want to be a part of that.
Okay.
Who wouldn't want to see this sultry fish man?
I do want to be clear about Scales here. So Scales, remember that cursed mansion, the educational mansion you can't get out of? Scales is there. So he's a bug-eyed fishman who lives in a bathtub who quizzes you. And he also has an Elvis Presley voice, which I cannot explain. Let's just run through this again. He offers intellectually stimulating conversation in the form of riddles. He has an appreciation for the king. And listen, he's into water sports, so say less.
I don't like that.
You say less.
Yeah, you should. Wow.
We all look like we just ate a lemon. Is how uncomfortable Todd has made us.
Well, great.
all.
I've got one more for you. And let me introduce you to Miss Step. Miss Step.
Yeah.
She is an older, refined woman who kind of serves as a correcting force if you get too many of Scales' questions wrong. You fall through a trap door and land in her basement.
She looks like the old man from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
She does look like the old man from Courage the Cowardly Dog. And who's to say that when Mr. Blaster is being quizzed by Scales, he doesn't intentionally get a few questions wrong on purpose to spend time in Miss Step's basement of corrections? The point that I'm making here is that Max Blaster has options, and all of these pixelated hotties are DTF, down to factor.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
Down to factor.
Damn it.
You don't have to repeat it. We got it.
I hate handing it to you, but I gotta hand it to you.
Yeah, well, you do. If you don't, then Miss Step's gonna have a word with you in her corrections basement.
Do you promise?
She will.
I kind of can't get over how good a porn name Max Blaster is. Can we start?
Dude, I tripped into that.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Really something.
Yeah, that was not intentional. It just happened.
Well,
that's what happens.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, Andrew. So I got to break the bit for a second and tell you guys all about something that one of those like random TikTok news shows told me about. And it's the reason that I have an incognito tab open. So I was scrolling TikTok and one of those like, here are things happening across the internet that you haven't heard of things. And it was like, they're using AI to do this. They're using AI to do this. And one of those things is that there's this company that's making this website called X Suite where OnlyFans models and porn stars can train their own chat bots to interact with their fans for them as them, which is a little dystopian and weird, and I don't really want to think about that too hard.
So,
but
yeah,
what you're trying to tell us is hell is real and we're already in it? Great.
No. I think this goes the other way, right? Like, I don't want robots to take jobs. I do want robots to take the weird perverts' jobs who had to pretend to be porn stars in chats.
Sure.
You want robots to keep our weird perverts busy so they can't go out into the world? Is that what you're saying,
I
Todd?
do want robots to keep the weird perverts busy so they don't go out to the world. I think that's right.
So the only reason I bring this up is to set the precedent that in the year of our Lord 2025, we're making sexy chatbots. And I know that we've been doing that for a long time, but now there's a whole
balloons fall,
it.
confetti shoots.
So, Words with Friends with Benefits is going to start off as a single player offering because we want this to be a dating simulation experience. So when you log in to Words with Friends with Benefits, we are going to pair you up, a smart match, if you will, with somebody that we think matches your style. Of course, we're going to scrape every word you've ever written out, you dirty little freak, on Words with Friends. And we're going to decide, what is it that you're really into? And then one of our, half dozen or so avatars will get into a game with you. Now, who are these avatars, you may ask? Well, they are legally distinct versions of some of the sexiest professors and librarians known to fiction. Like, Evelyn Carnahan, who we can use her character name because nobody knows that's Rachel Weisz from the Mummy movies, but that's a sexy librarian. How about Rupert Giles, spelled with a J, sexy librarian from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
From Buffy, yeah.
We've got Dr. Mann, that guy from something different than the Da Vinci Code because it's legally distinct from the Da Vinci Code doctor. I don't remember his name. Long story short, we're going to make sexy chatbots out of fictional characters. And look, if Book Talk has taught me anything, there is no sexier way than getting to know someone through an analytical look at their language and vocabulary. And I tell you what, when you cue in with Marion, the legally distinct librarian, and she drops "What are you wearing?" on a double letter score, you're going to blow your load. You're going to max blast. You're going to be ready to go. And we'll have, again, plenty of avatars for you to choose from. Maybe I'm scrolling my list of 21 hottest fictional librarians. Dr. Abigail Chase from National Treasure, but Chase spelled with an I, like a Chase lounge instead of Chase like what you do in a car. Or how about still scrolling. I'm unfamiliar with a lot of these characters. Tammy Swanson, Ron Swanson's sister, ex-wife. Who's a librarian. Yeah. Look, that's what I'm doing. My bid is out. I'm just saying we're going to put sexy chatbots in Words with Friends, and some of them are going to have freak tendencies. Some of them will spell different words. Some of them will spell words like vanilla or passion, and other words will spell more explicit words that I'm not going to say on this podcast my mom listens to.
So is the chat in the form of Words with Friends like Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Giles will just like type out boner? And like
no, I think he's saying
like, hell yeah, brother.
You're playing Scrabble.
Yes.
Yep. Against
it's Words with
AI.
Friends. Legally
distinct Scrabble, yeah.
Yeah. They actually made a Words with Friends board game I learned today, so it's legal.
Yeah, they did.
That does suck.
And then you are playing the secondary game of Flirt with Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
That you play over multiple games of Words with Friends, I think is what Matt is pitching here.
Words with Friends has a native chat feature. Anytime you match up with somebody, it has a text chat. So like you can communicate through text chat, but there's suggestive wordplay, and you're going to try to improve your score. You want to create friends with benefits and not just random avatars. So if you link up with somebody and you're dropping words like
let's hear them. What kind of words?
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Name
sounding, and they're dropping words like kissing. You're not going to match up. You're going to have to get a new avatar.
Sure.
That was the first word I thought of, and I wish I could take it back. It's on the internet forever.
Kyle said he did crimes in his kindergarten computer, so
I hope you have to explain what sounding is to your mom who listens to this podcast.
I won't. She's got a degree. She can figure it out.
And access to the internet.
She can Google it. Sick. Kyle, your turn now.
Yeah. So, like I said, Andrew, there is only one relationship to work on in this game.
I do just want to note the only thing that Kyle has written here is for legal purposes, he has copied from, I assume, the wiki that says Mavis Beacon is an entirely fictional character, created for marketing purposes. I feel like I need to represent that for our collective own legal purposes now.
There was a brief moment where I was not sure if Mavis Beacon was a real person who started a typing education empire, and like I didn't want to besmirch this rags to riches story's good name. But Mavis Beacon is entirely fictional, created for marketing purposes, so it's okay. I can do whatever I want. So, Andrew, let me lay it out for you. This game is going to start. You're going to go into class. You're going to sit down at your desk, and your teacher, Mavis Beacon, is going to walk in, and immediately you are smitten. Your vision tightens. You get that tunnel vision. Everything is hazy and has a pink glow to it. You're head over heels. But unfortunately, she is your stern and cold teacher. Surely nothing will happen. But maybe you think, if I do well on these typing lessons and my typing exam, maybe she will see there's something more to me than just a student wishing to increase my words per minute through taking this class. And for the most part, for your first few lessons, Andrew, is what it's going to be. You will be playing the shy student trying to win over your teacher's affections by being a good student. And if you are a good enough typer, this is one path to victory. Victory being seducing your teacher, Mavis Beacon. Yeah, that's the face I'm looking for, Todd. Thank you.
It's that we all ate a bunch of lemons face.
Yeah.
They're so elusive.
They're so elusive.
I've got an image in my mind's eye of Mavis Beacon, but it's wrong and changing, and I'm just so curious.
I do need to admit something. I have been trying to think of the porn parody name for Mavis Beacon, and I can't get Anus Beacon out of my head now.
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's the one.
But what if it was?
It's not the one we're going with today. I will let our less typing proficient fans and listeners know victory by good typing is only one path to our goal. If you keep up with your lessons but are perhaps struggling, you may get called to see Miss Beacon after class. And there you might begin flirting a bit with your teacher outside of the typing lessons.
Mavis streaking.
Mavis streaking.
Okay.
But either way, this is a slow burn a little bit. There's going to be a lot of interpreting glances and making sure you understand the comma in the right part of the sentence to get the right intention. Because, Andrew, this game embraces that there is nothing sexier than anticipation. And that's what we're doing.
Wow.
Kyle, how slow would you say the slow burn is? Like, how many words per minute?
Matt.
The disappointment. And Matt,
I can't do anything with that.
Kyle just saying Matt was a dozen words in one.
Yeah.
It's not quite Better Call Saul slow burn, but it's also not scene 1, episode 1, right into the action fast either. It's pick your own pace, honestly.
It's like Daredevil Born Again slow burn.
Yeah.
All right. The answer I was looking for was 69, but that's okay.
Great.
Nice. Next prompt now. Okay, so no dating sim would be complete without an end goal, obviously. So what are you having the player ultimately accomplish here? Is the point to experience each ending like in a visual novel, or is it to have people like pick their favorite team like in a sort of Persona type of a game? Or is the player going for a lifelong romantic relationship? Or are you really just collecting booby trading cards like in The Witcher 1? That is a real thing. Todd.
Yeah, I want to be really clear here. This is a pixelated edutainment game and can be played as such. If you just play the game through, it is just another iteration of Math Blaster episode 1, 2, and whatever one had the trapped mansion of learning, beginning to end. But much like every other poorly pixelated Newgrounds dating sim, you gotta work for those collectible boyfriends, girlfriends, robots, and fishman hearts to get filled. Because if you've played, I don't know, if you were a teenager with dial-up internet and you played a Newgrounds dating sim, you're like, that takes a lot to see that pixelated character in their bathing suit. And so you're gonna have to earn it here. On its surface, you're still going to be blasting trash by loading your gun through basic math problems and rerouting battery power by standing on the right multiplication table to get answers. But once you've completed the basic requirements, you're going to see a little pixelated heart icon next to that character's name of their little world or zone that you are in. Now, what's different is you can return to each zone to do their special missions for each character, but those are now harder versions of the original mathematical problems that you had the first time. So now you're adding fractions to fill up the yellow garbage aliens' hearts, as opposed to single-digit multiplication. You're multiplying into the second decimal point to check the oil on Dr. Minus, if that's what you're into. And listen, if you want to get into the tub with Scales, the gross fishman in the tub, I hope you've brushed up on your dead presidents. And I don't mean the easy dead presidents. I mean the deep cut dead presidents. Real quick, Kyle.
Who's Millard?
Yeah, who's the
Millard Fillmore?
Kyle, who's the 27th president of the United States?
27th president is Lyndon B. Johnson.
William Howard Taft. William Howard Taft, Kyle. And I'll tell you why it's William. It's well, that's good because Scales is he's the trivia guy.
Everybody tell Todd's wife how proud she should be of him.
Well, she doesn't listen to this, thank God.
That's why I'm saying that.
And here's the deal. You might be curious why we're talking about William Howard Taft for Scales. Both of them big fans of bathtubs.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
That's kind of been my whole thing today.
Look, I don't like it, but he's not wrong.
The same and same.
Yeah. Matt.
Yeah, Andrew et al. I'd like to read real quick a couple of paragraphs from the Words with Friends Wikipedia. I would read from the actual articles cited in the Wikipedia, but they're all locked behind paywalls. Since the game's launch, the random opponent and chat feature of the game have led to a number of romantic relationships. In 2009, Megan Lawless of Chicago began a game with a random opponent, Jasper Jasperi, real name, who lived in the Netherlands. The two got to know one another via the game's chat function and married in July 2011. Other couples who met via the game's random opponent feature include, and then it gives a bunch of other examples. The thing that matters is that people have fallen in love through Words with Friends before. And we introduced Words with Friends with benefits to set the stage to cultivate some of those relationships. But here's the thing. Words with Friends, it's a pretty respectable game. A lot of folks play that. Not all of them are freaks. And we needed a way to weed out the freaks before we really let them out there. Enter Words with Friends with benefits. Once you have established a relationship with one of our avatars, you will then be given the option, if you do so successfully, to proceed into the open stratosphere of other Words with Friends with benefits friends, where you can be matched up against other real-life people in the real world based on your preferences and the data we've scraped from your conversations with our AI chatbots to understand exactly what you're into and exactly what it is that really gets you going. And once we have those things figured up, we'll use our existing smart match feature to put you with your type of freak. Maybe you make something out of it. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have a weird secret affair with an AI chatbot, even though you're married, but you need to talk about your sexual freak shit with a Words with Friends person. That seems like the ending of this if it were a Joaquin Phoenix movie. Anyway.
It's definitely a news article that you could probably find right now on Google.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that you can get whatever you want out of Words with Friends with benefits. If you want to stay with your new AI chatbot friend, you can do that. They're never going to go anywhere. Unless, of course, global warming causes us to shut the server down. Or you could move out and try to meet somebody else in the Words with Friends sphere based on our random chat feature. And then, you can drop boobies on a triple word score and see if they reciprocate.
I swear during the foggy 2.5 years known as the official COVID lockdowns, there was a story of an AI chatbot server getting shut down and a man losing his quote unquote wife because he somehow married this AI chatbot. And then I don't know if he sued or something, but there was certainly an article about this. And Matt, I just want to reiterate that hell is real and we are in it. And your game reflects that. So
I really appreciate that you took the time to really sketch out a true dystopia. In this here dating sim.
I want to say it now because I'm going to forget it when we get to good vibes. I'm so torn on what you've described for a second that the point of spill your deepest
horny words with friends. Todd is in favor of. Hang on. Falling in love with an AI chatbot. Todd is not in favor of.
No, it's this. fall in love with an AI chatbot, get horny with it, tell it your deepest desires, and suddenly, like a Netflix recommendation level, it's like, here's a perv that'll match your perv.
Yeah.
And like that's where I'm torn, right? So like you suddenly get presented with a person, they're like, they check all of these boxes, which like, we're not even talking personality and favorite music. We're talking like weird shit that you've said to an AI robot. And I cannot tell if that's dystopian or just wildly efficient for the future of like online dating.
The two don't need to be mutually exclusive, Todd.
The Venn diagram's a flat circle.
Efficiency is not necessarily a positive word. You know,
the future can both be dystopian and efficient.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
the horrors persist, and so do I.
with words with friends with benefits.
Yeah, but you'll save yourself like 10 minutes.
Yeah, like you save yourself at least 3 first dates to get to that point,
and all the awkward questions. I think that's the unspoken benefit here is you don't have to no trepidation of what weird stuff are you into.
Wouldn't consent surveys be so much more fun if you played Scrabble the whole time?
You get like a Spotify Wrapped of your experience before you're thrown to a new person. And it's like, this person is also into scaly fishmen and bathtubs and the 27th president of the United States. And you're like, oh, hot damn.
Yeah. This person has used the word latex in 75% of games.
Good.
Kyle.
Great even. Yeah. So Andrew, like I said, there is one singular goal here, and that is wooing your teacher. I don't want to say seducing.
Laying pipe on Mavis Beacon.
Laying pipe on Mavis Beacon.
Wow.
Now, Andrew, like many popular games today, when you finish the game is when the real game begins. So you have
New Game Plus with Mavis Beacon.
New Game Plus with Mavis Beacon. When you finish your typing course, credits roll, a little animation plays like you did it. You get a certificate to print off your printer that is useful to absolutely no one. And then you go back to the main menu and you see that New Game Plus button. And you click it, you start your game. And now you're in Mavis Beacon's intermediate typing class. And she recognizes you from passing and doing so well in her beginner class that you took last semester, obviously. And this time there's a little more heat in your communications with her. Maybe when she's passing around assignments or whatever, she lingers at your desk a little bit, or there's a little wink in her eye when she reads your test scores out from the list of the classes. Andrew, that's how you know you're in. You got your foot in the door. Mavis Beacon is picking up what you're putting down. And now your goal is not to catch her attention, but it's to win her over. It's to take her out on that date, spend some time with her outside of the classroom. And each time you complete New Game Plus, you get a more flirtatious, friendly, open to hanging out version of Mavis Beacon.
Real quick, because I said something nice about Matt, and I'm going to forget if I don't say it about you, Kyle. What I like so nicely about what you've just presented is you're going to trick people into getting better at typing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And honestly, if that's not what edutainment is all about, then God damn it.
What are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
Todd, before we move on, I do have a quick favor. Would you please, just completely cold, just read out what you have typed here in prompt 3 for your answer for prompt 3?
Yeah. So listeners of the show, we have our show notes again, $10 access, Patreon, you get it. And we'll type just like primers for what we're about to say, usually as placeholders, so we kind of know where we're going. I typed mine 20 minutes before we recorded, and I quote, "Ya boy is out here trying to put that PEM in that DAS." And I thought that was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good, but I also wasn't quite the vibe that I had.
Couldn't work it organically into the conversation.
It needed to be said. It needed to be put on paper. I appreciate that.
And I was really happy about it. Like, I was proud of that one. I will say I didn't find a way to throw a foil, like a first outside, inside last. It seemed too like too obvious, and we're above that.
Are we?
I don't think we're above that.
I don't know. After today,
Choose to be above that.
There's not much we're above, and I don't think that is
not that.
is one of them.
yeah. The only things we're above are all the other indie Batman podcasts.
They wouldn't dare.
That joke is for nobody but the four of us. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but before we do, let me close out with our super secret bonus question. So, data suggests that the best way to market these games is to engage with the player base, most specifically to incorporate an amount of fan art. Now, hold on. We're not going to just go balls to the wall. Excuse the expression. We're going to be selective. So tell me, what is the fan art that comes out of this game that you will embrace? And then, of course, more importantly, what's the fan art you aren't touching with a 10-foot pole? We will address this with answers right after this.
Hey, June 20th through the 22nd, if you are in the vicinity of Atlanta or willing to travel there, that being Atlanta, Georgia, you can come see us. We're going to be at the Southern Fried Gaming Expo the weekend of June 20th through the 22nd in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Marriott Renaissance Waverly, the fanciest sounding hotel on this side of the Mississippi. So,
Hey, Andrew, are we going to be doing like a live show or anything at that?
We will be doing a live show. Great question, Todd. We're going to be doing a live show. We're also just going to be there, but we're not going to have a table. We don't know yet what time the live show is. So if you're planning to come to the con, come and see us. We'd love to.
We'll let you all know when the live show is as soon as it's scheduled. But right now, all we know is that we have one. So if you don't have anything to do at the weekend of July 20th,
Nope. June 20th. June 20th.
if you don't have anything to do the weekend of June 20th, come to Atlanta and say hi. But that's it.
Much like you, we're just four people doing their best. And we're back. All right, one more time. That super secret bonus question is fan art. How are you incorporating it? Tell us, what is the fan art that comes out of your game that you will embrace in marketing? And then, of course, what is the fan art that you are just going to straight out ignore? Todd, start with you.
You can't have light without dark. Let's just without the sun that shines, you cannot have the shadow.
Yeah.
The best fan art out there is obviously going to be Max Blaster, the Blasternaut, in like a Han Solo or Zap Brannigan-esque form, with all of his various love interests at his side, clinging to his leg while he heroically stands on top of a mountain. No math to be seen anywhere, but that's what you get. That's the good side. Now, on the other side of the internet, where no one dares go, you will find a looping GIF of a famously titled animation called the Infinite Google Blaster. If you're not familiar, a Googleplex is the biggest number ever known to man, one with infinite zeros, yada, yada, yada. Now, legends have said the Infinite Google Blaster is a human centipede-like art that loops of all the characters, and I'd rather say less than what I've already said at this point on.
I really like that you incorporated math into your pervy fan art.
What are we doing here, Andrew?
If not that, what?
Yeah.
That's true.
What has it been for?
Matt, what about you?
Yeah, so what we are really going to engage with is a form of art, but not a visual form of art. It's actually going to be the fan fiction that we are really going to encourage, well, maybe not encourage, but we'll embrace. There will be tons of people who write and script out their sensual chat exchanges with fictional folks from all over the internet and fictional universe. We may even use some of those to inspire future avatars, which we will be adding to the Words with Friends with Benefits Battle Pass, of course. So that will be what we encourage. People, dreaming up their own chats with their own favorite fictional people. All of those weird paintings and pictures that have sexual acts with the names of those sexual acts spelled out in Scrabble tiles underneath it. That That we say nay, we will not be touching. All of those weird hangman jokes with the shibari ropes, we're not doing that either. We see you freaks out there. We know what you're doing, and we're not going to touch it. But we see you. We know you're doing it.
All right, Kyle.
Yeah, Andrew. So right off the bat, I will say the fan art that we are steering clear of is any pictures, any drawings, anything, anyone.
You're steering clear of. You're just not
steering clear of the pictures of Mavis Beacon in a really short pencil skirt, or with that top button of her blouse undone, or shaking her hair out. Steering clear of that. The people who want that, they will find it. We do not need to help them. It's a don't ask, don't tell situation where we know it will certainly help sales of our game, but we have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's like the Overwatch community.
It's exactly, Andrew. Exactly like the Overwatch community.
Just like the Overwatch community.
Yeah.
What we are going to embrace, Andrew, is going to be closer to what we have in the game, and that is we expect the fans of our game to create their own typing prompts that get hot and heavy. And we expect that, Andrew, because as you play the game, that is one of the ways Mavis Beacon can start to flirt back with you, is by putting maybe some sensual or suggestive sentences into your typing work for the day. And we suspect that fans are going to want to create their own exercises, and we think that's great. We want them to do it. After the game's been live for a little while, we're going to give people the option to upload their own typing exercises for other players to play, and we think that is going to spawn a really great fan reaction and community.
All right. Very, very wholesome, despite the question. I love it. All right, so here's the deal. I am already running late. I have to appear at the dating sim job fair.
Court? You have to go to court?
I have to go to court. I have to go to court on my way to the dating sim job fair, where I will pitch all three of these to be dating sims to be picked up by a real company. I don't know. Who cares? Closing statements. Give me your final statements to tie up these arguments with a bow.
Yeah, here's the thing. You can't convince me that the original Math Blaster wasn't created by a bunch of math pervs. Let's go through the list real quick.
I don't think anyone is arguing the reverse.
Well, I'm going to give you more data here. The first game was titled In Search of Spot, and you were ordered around by the Galactic Commander. So yeah, a story of a well-intentioned but clueless nerd being ordered around by an authoritative woman in a suit while looking for one specific spot. Okay, yeah, subtle. The second one was Secret of the Lost City. More like Secret of the Lost Titty, am I right? And the last,
nice.
and later, a non-math version came out called Invasion of the Word Snatchers. Now, follow me on this one. Put an S in front of the word.
Ahead.
Yeah. Put S in front of the word word. Put S in front of the word, and now it's sword snatchers, and that kind of sounds like a euphemism for a hole used for sex with a penis. This is art made by math pervs for math pervs. I rest my case.
It's pretty sound.
In this essay, I will.
Matt.
Yeah, Andrew. It's Words with Friends, a game that has already led to, cited by Wikipedia, at least a half dozen real-world marriages. What could go wrong if we introduced semi-sentient, extremely sexual chatbots? I think it would really get the people going, and could open up the opportunity for somebody to match somebody else's freak.
Love it. Kyle.
Yeah, Andrew, we are going to give the people what they want, whether what they want is to get better at typing and increase their words per minute when doing so, or to flirt with a stern, authoritative woman in nicer than business casual.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, as I head to my court date / job fair, why don't you give each other some good vibes?
It's funny, those are both at the community center, and like it's just other ends of the building.
There's a
which is
partition
nice.
between the two.
Yeah. This is awesome. I love these episodes more than most because they're just so stupid. The concept of making a game into a dating sim is always the best, dumbest thing. Matt, I love what you did because one, canonically already horny. Like the people that want to make words with friends are already making it horny. And as like, you know, as Words with Friends and the pandemic and everything probably ramped up, you can't tell me there's not some like graph in some wall that's like, oh, it's getting hornier. Like, oh my God, the nerds are getting more horny. And I do love that, like, you kind of took the beginning of the Powerpuff Girls of Sugar Spice and Everything Nice, and you just rammed a bunch of Chemical X, and Chemical X is just intentionally more horny content into this game that isn't designed to be horny, but certainly became that way. I think that's wonderful. Great. And also, there's something really, really funny about people being like, well, I like getting weird and suggestive with Words with Friends. What if I download the hornier one?
But I wish there was one that was explicitly hornier and made for hookups after we finish playing our game of not Scrabble, legally distinct from Scrabble.
There's a graph out there of how the other ones are just getting deleted and people are only downloading that one. And I think that's great. Kyle, making typing horny is very, very funny. Super funny. And I think what I like most about this is I had not seen the cover of Mavis Beacon Teaches Type in about 20, 30 years or so. And I forgot there was like a woman on the cover of it. So for me the whole time, I've been imagining like a Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones smoldering man as Mavis Beacon. Because Mavis Beacon, that's... How many Mavises do you know?
Not a lot.
None.
One,
and it's my sultry teacher that looks like Harrison Ford. And so this whole time I've been like, Mavis Beacon with the unbuttoned top button. Okay, that's a little risky, Mr. Harrison. And so I love this. I love that you took the thing that everyone tried to convince in the 90s that's what kids wanted, like to flirt with their teacher. And you said, fuck it, horny game. Here you go. And also, you're going to learn typing on the way, and you're not even going to get to the good end because you're going to get tired of typing. So here you go. You learned today, idiots. Good luck.
Yeah, Todd, I really like Math Blaster as an answer. I think it's very funny that the guy's name was Max Blaster before you even got your hands on it. I mean, that's fortuitous, if nothing else. And I liked the cast of characters you introduced to us, at least in the sense of a modern dating sim with a whole cast of characters that all fit, you know, singular archetypes. Scales, the fishman in the bathtub, is a choice, but you brought that to us. Thank you, I guess. Kyle, I liked that your answer was like, what if that one Van Halen song was a game? That's fun. And what if that game teaches you typing? How great would that be? That's awesome. I love typing games. I was a quick typer, a fast typer. I don't know.
Typist.
Typist. I was a quick typist.
It's typist.
When I was learning to type. And so Mavis Beacon and other games that let me learn to type and watch number go up were really good for my ADHD brain. Would they be really good for my sexual brain? Not so sure, but I like that you suggested that they may be.
For legal purposes, we should disclaim nothing that you heard today was good for anyone's sexual brain.
No, it's all bad.
Yeah.
Todd, Math Blaster is a surprisingly good pick. Who knew that there was a cast of characters and lore to pull from in the edutainment game that I mostly remember shooting trash and flying upwards in a cave in.
Yeah, man.
So
that's 2/3 of episode 1.
Yeah, fantastic. Matt, WWF is very good. Very good play on words. You just made a dating app with Scrabble, which certainly has a market somewhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
And you didn't say WWF before I got to, so that is also good. That makes me happy in a different way.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, let's just get into it. I have returned from my court date / job fair, and I have great news.
What was the verdict, Andrew?
I cannot disclaim for legal purposes.
That's not your great news.
That is unrelated to my great news. So my great news is that all of these items are going to get picked up. Now, unfortunately,
oh no,
Debate DT exclamation point HQ can only fund one of them. But Kyle, I have great news. Mavis Beacon actually already got picked up by the Netflix affiliate in Seoul, and it has been greenlit to be the next hit Korean drama. So
that sounds real, like really realistic.
Yeah.
TBH, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Matt, similarly, the Suits loved because again, as Kyle pointed out, you build a dating app. You build a dating app that only the likes of the New York Times themselves could fund. So NYT Games has actually picked up Words with Friends with Benefits as their first foray into dating app, into the dating app game. So that means Todd, DT!HQ is going to fully fund to the max Math Blaster, the search for G-Spot. So well done.
I did my best to not say those exact words as you just said them. So I'm glad you did it for me.
I'm willing to jump on that landmine.
To jump on that fish man?
Yeah, jump on that proverbial fish man. And with that, thanks so much for listening to Debate This. You at home can follow along with the arguments on Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon, all at Debate This Cast, or on our website at debatethiscast.com. If you want to support us more, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/debatethiscast, where for the price of $5 a month, you get access to our monthly Patreon-exclusive show, Deconstructed, where we break down a bunch of Disney Channel original movies. Most recently, we did the Frankie Muniz vehicle, Miracle in Lane 2. And this month, we're doing another movie.
Literally anything else.
Yep. Until next time, I'm Andrew Henderson.
I'm Todd. Made it the whole episode without a Uranus pun. Thomas.
I'm Matt. Tallywhacker on a triple word score is 69 points. Cole.
And I'm Kyle. Yes, Rule 34 applies to Math Blaster. Harper.
And we're saying thanks for debating with us. And if you think we're wrong, you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.